We mustn't forget that by the end of the 19th century, this was the age of the rise of the machines in the Western world. The Yoruba people already lost who they are. They lost the essence of who they were. They lost the essence of their identity. We no longer, immediately after the Kiriji War Treaty was signed, we lost our sovereignty as a people. We lost our right as a people. Our reality as a people became lost. Firstly, after the 1884 Berlin West African Conference, then the Kiriji War Treaty. We had Yoruba people that were speaking Germans in Togo, the Yoruba people that started speaking French in Benin Republic, and the Yoruba people that started speaking English in Nigeria. We started having Yoruba people by the end of the 19th century. We had millions of Yoruba people speaking Portuguese in Brazil, another million speaking Spanish in North America and the Caribbean. A lot of our people lost their identity. We became a victim of globalization just because we could not define. We were not able to define our place in the changing world order. There is something that the Asian countries and the European countries have done better. Is that anytime there is a change in the dynamic equilibrium of the world order, they've been able to define their place in those dynamics. But the Yoruba people have not been able to do that. But we had a chance in the 20th century. Like I said, like the elder statesmen, the patriarchs of the Yoruba people that I mentioned earlier, they were able to negotiate. The Yorubas of Nigeria, they were able to negotiate for a better deal for their own people within Nigeria that was created out of the order of the 1914 of the First World War and the Second World War. People don't know that the First World War led to the creation of some countries. The Second World War led to the creation of another country. So anytime there is a chaos in the world, and another order will emerge. And the borders of the world has continues to change. The world border, land borders have continued to change. It's either the borders of a country shrinks or a border of a country expands. We are living in history. We are marching through time. The question I want to ask all of us is, what is our time there? What is even look at Nigeria as a country. What is the position of Nigeria in these changing dynamics? I want to really give it to Nigeria. Nigeria was able to survive the Cold War due to the brilliant diplomats of those periods. Nigeria was the only country where the USSR and the Western Bloc came together to unite, to support them to fight mostly against Biafra. It's very, very rare. If you look at conflicts all across the world, you look at the conflicts that happen in South Africa, conflicts in Mozambique, conflicts in Angola, conflicts in Cuba, in Vietnam, the Soviet bloc, the communist bloc, is always supporting the other side, while the American-led order, which is the Western-led order, always supported the other side. But in the case of the Nigerian Civil War, both the Soviet bloc and the American-led order joined and supported Nigeria against Biafra in the large extent. So Nigeria was a different, and how did Nigeria achieve that? Nigeria achieved that because it had brilliant diplomats. That's the bitter truth. And I'm not here to say maybe the diplomats are Yoruba or Hausa or Fulani or Igbo. That's not why we are here. But we are trying to go through history. And look at currently where we find ourselves. The Yoruba people have found ourselves in a case like something that is currently a phenomenon that is currently happening in the world, which I call in the Western world, which I call the white guilt. What is the white guilt? The white guilt is a scenario, a situation where white people are guilt-tripped all the time. Maybe for things that are true or not true, that are historically true or not historically true. So the white people are always saying that they are the bad people, they are the terrible people, so they must always apologize to the whole world. They must always apologize to some sects. You know, this is the kind of thing, apologize to black people. So the same thing is happening to the Yoruba people. The Yoruba people, due to incessant propaganda, non-stop propaganda, even though we've been the biggest victims of Nigeria, we've been the biggest victims of Nigeria. Our human capital, our capacity has been stored and stocked so that other parts of Nigeria can catch up. That's the bitter truth. The reason for the Agoyin Rossi coup and the unification decree, the reason for the unification decree was very simple. So that other parts of Nigeria can catch up with some other parts of Nigeria. So we knew what this was, so that everybody, unification, the unitary, is that everybody will be on the same stage. And it doesn't work that way. You look at any country in the world, some parts are always more prosperous than another. That is what happens anywhere in the world. Western Germany is more prosperous than Eastern Germany. The southern states in America are more richer, more prosperous than the middle states and the northern states. The southeastern part of China is more richer than the northern and the western part of China. We can go around. Go on and on to explain this phenomenon. That is what happens because human capacity, human potentials are not the same. So we've been in this quagmire, in a state where we can no longer even say we are Yoruba again.